Hello and welcome to Pace, an apparently very sad game about losing those in our lives that we love. This game doesn't have any menu or anything, so I had to do a very short introduction. Alright, press Q, press P. Alright, let's see here if I go Q, P. Q, P. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Am I doing the game right? I assume so. I don't know. We'll see here. It appears I'm walking very calmly through the winter time with the person I love so dearly. Do I have to keep pressing these, or does it? Oh, yeah, it does. Okay. All right. I can do that, I guess. So who is that exactly? Are we supposed to be husband and wife? Because that would... I think, based on their general figures, the one on the left appears to be a somewhat overweight male, older male, and the one on the right appears to be a somewhat older female. I would guess these are moments of our lives. Probably closer to the end, I would guess. You can hear the heartbeat very subtly in the background, but it's not very loud. It's kind of funny that I have to keep pressing this to keep the story going, which is odd. The season's changing again. There's a lot of time of just waiting for the season to change. And I think what the idea is that they're trying to enforce the amount of time that I've spent with this person. I don't even know which one it is, though, whether it's the one on the left or the right, which one I'm supposed to be. But I'm noticing, I think the heartbeat is actually getting faster. I think it is. But I'm also noticing the world is a little more decrepit. I'm seeing like some ruined stuff on the side here. I'm not totally sure what that's supposed to represent. Is life getting harder? Am I losing more things as I move through life? Life is a hell of a thing to happen to a person. It can be a very rough thing for us to get through. But now the trees are looking a little greener. Things are looking up a little bit. For the brighter moments in life, I suppose you could say. And we have to make sure that we see those as we go through them, or we may never realize that we had them to begin with. I will say, one thing that would definitely improve this game is a narrative of some kind. Some dialogue to accompany the wandering through eternity with the one that I love. I'm assuming the colors are also supposed to symbolize something. We've seen different greens and purples and blues, and now red and white, which actually reminds me a lot of the game Prisoned, which is another kind of emotional game. Very short game, but very briefly emotional. And again, we have a lot of like ruined walls and piles of rocks and stuff, and I'm not sure what the relevance of those things is. Am I supposed to be doing something more, I wonder? It said to press Q and P, and that's what I'm doing. And I assume that's almost like the idea of two hearts beating in unison. The person on the left and the person on the right. The heart beats as one. I mean, it's kind of two, but it's basically one. One follows the other immediately, and they are in sync forever. But I don't know. Am I supposed to be following something specific with how these hearts beat? Is it supposed to mean something? I don't know. What's tricky about these kind of games is, unless there's a narrative, which there usually is, but if there isn't one, and some stories are told like that, there's actually a really good one that I can't remember the name of right now. Dang it. But it's, I believe, about two comets or something like that. And it tells almost a love story of these two inanimate rocks hurtling through space. And it has no narrative, but it tells a story. It shows you the two comets, and it shows them in a way that makes you understand what you're supposed to through visuals as opposed to through dialogue. Which is different than what this game is doing. It's showing a visual of these two people, but it doesn't tell me who they are. I don't know if one of them is me, and if so, which one is me. I don't know how this relates to the guy in the bed. I don't know how this relates to what I'm doing with the Q and P. And also it appears to be looping. We are now back at the dissolving green trees. So you know what I'm thinking I'm gonna do here? Since this is a game about losing loved ones, what happens if we lose the loved ones? That was still beating. Oh. Ah, the end. Thank you for playing Pace. Okay. Okay, that was kind of interesting. So the one thing I would say is that nothing really in the game hinted that I should stop. But essentially what was going on, and this is actually a very cool idea. That little thing at the end kind of put everything together. What happened was, essentially, I think it was the guy. I think the person that was dying was the male, and the one at the side was the female. And what was happening is I was playing the female character, and my husband was on life support. He was never going to wake up, you know, whether it was a coma or whether, you know, he was just too old to live on his own or whatever. But he was essentially on life support. And what we were seeing is as I pressed Q and P, I was keeping him alive. I was basically saying, okay, I remember this memory. I want this to stay alive. This memory of this person I spent my life with, I'm clinging to that memory. And then as soon as I stopped, the game said, okay, you are going to unplug that person. They are no longer on life support, so he died. And that was the end of the game. Is as soon as I decided that the relation or the life was no longer worth sustaining, our relationship had come to its end. It was time to end it. And that actually reminds me, like all of us have lost people in our lives, but I've never been in a situation where I had to decide whether to leave someone on life support or not. I have with pets though, and it's an excruciating decision. We had to put a cat down at 5 years old because it was just like he was not going to have a good life. And it's brutal when you have to go through those kind of decisions. And now that feeling of the cat, I knew him for 5 years. Imagine knowing someone for 70 years. You've been married for, I don't know, 50 to 60 years to this person. You've lived there your whole life. You've shared everything inside and out. And suddenly you have to decide whether it's time to let them go or not. It's not an easy thing. It's very, very difficult. And I think the end of this game actually symbolized that very well. So to that degree, I did enjoy the game. The only thing I would say about it is that it wasn't clear from a gameplay perspective that I was supposed to stop. It didn't ever indicate to me that I should change what I was doing, so I just kept it alive. And I guess maybe eventually everyone would just stop and you'd see what happened. I guess that was the intention of the game. Still a little bit confusing from a gameplay perspective. But anyway, I'll link the game in the description down below if you guys want to check it out or find the developer. But I think other than that, that's all I got. So thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see you later.